Well, welcome to today's Name Him vlog, and I'm here with Maria, and we're going to have a conversation about things to do with faith and Jesus and street pastoring. So, Maria, why don't you begin by telling us a little bit about how you became a Christian?
Well, I was actually brought up as a Catholic. So I went to Catholic schools, a Catholic church. So I did believe in God, but I always felt that there were gaps missing, that I wasn't really getting the full picture. And it wasn't until fast forward to the 1980s that I was introduced to a Pentecostal church.
Okay.
And it was there that all those gaps that had been missing in my childhood years started to be filled. And I started to understand about God and Jesus. And as my faith was being nurtured and matured in this church, I committed my life to Jesus.
Amazing, that's really cool. And so, Maria, was there a particular person that springs to mind who perhaps named Jesus to you that made a difference in your journey?
Yes, it was a colleague and his wife, Paul and Martha, great names.
Yeah.
And they were born-again Christians, and they were going to this Pentecostal church. And Martha used to come to my office after work, and she'd just sit and tell me about this compassionate God, this loving Jesus. And she had her Bible, she'd read scriptures to me, and she prayed for me and my children. And it did, bless her, take several months before I really responded to this. But she had such a graciousness about her and such an awe of I can't really describe it, but she had joy in her heart. And so I thought, okay, let me see what this is all about. And so I started to go to that church.
That's amazing. Martha, that's brilliant. That's so good that she was so faithful to kind of discipling you in that way. That's awesome.
Yes. And she didn't wait until I started to ask questions. And as soon as she saw that at last I was inquisitive, she gave me my first Bible. So.
Amazing. That's really cool. So I guess, Maria, what would you say is the biggest difference, or what difference has following Jesus and people naming Jesus to you, what difference has that made in your life, would you say?
Well, it made such a difference. I mean, immediately I felt cleansed and healed, and that burden of guilt and sin was lifted. And I knew that I could trust Jesus with my life, that I could hand over my life for him to control and not me. And I've just seen, Sam, some amazing answers to prayer, and they've been somehow quite dramatic and quite miraculous. So, yeah, it's just completely transformed my life. And even decades on, I did go through a bit of a spiritual wilderness period. And I was between churches. I couldn't find anywhere that I could settle. And God used my daughter and my grandchildren to go to St. Pat's. And it was really just a few weeks in that I realized I'd actually found my spiritual home, and I'd been taken out of that wilderness and back into the fold. So that was wonderful.
That's amazing to hear. It's really cool how God uses different people in different ways at different times. Or for you to come to find a home at St. Patrick's. Really
I know. Right on my doorstep as well.
Yeah.
So all those plane tickets to London were a complete waste of time.
Well, lastly, Maria, I'm really interested to hear about your experience as a street pastor. It's something that you've been doing for a little while now, and so perhaps you could share a story or two about street pastoring with us.
Well, Sam, this is just a wonderful blessing. It's a way to take the church out to the people on the streets and to meet them where they are. And, you know, we do meet so many vulnerable people who are hurting, they're lonely, they feel they don't have a voice. And to be able to just sit with them and to listen to their story and to show them God's love and compassion and care and empathy, it just can really change people's lives. And it makes the church relevant as well. And we get opportunities to talk about our faith, to pray with or for people, and to let them know that no matter where they are in their lives, no matter how helpless and hopeless they feel, that they are not alone, that Jesus is on this journey with them, and that he loves them, and that they're precious to him. And, you know, if we can just plant one single seed of hope and a future, then we know that God can carry that on to completion. And so this is just a wonderful way to serve our community, build up relationships, and to serve Jesus, and all to the glory of God.
That's amazing.
Such a privilege and a blessing for street pastors.
Yeah. Thank you, Maria, for joining us today. And we'll be back next week with another Name Him testimony.